85 constituencies out of 290 constituencies. I went to over 1,700 wards campaigning for Baba because I knew there was change that was coming. And up to now, my mind is not thinking well. I'm disturbed. At times I just sleep and wake up in the middle of the night asking myself what really happened. But you see, Mureithi, we lost an election that was ours. An election that was going to change the lives of Kenyans for better. And this election, we cannot blame Kenya Kwanza. We have to blame ourselves. Within our house, that is where the problem started. Personally, I knew now I would not be sitting in this office, Mureithi. Right now, I would be serving Kenyans at a different level as a cabinet secretary, either for interior or education. But look at me now. I promised Embakasi East residents that I was going to give them jobs. Some were going to work in Garissa from Embakasi East. Some were going to work in Kisumu. Some were going to Nyeri. Some were going to remain here in Nairobi. Others were going to Mombasa. And even people from various parts of this country were going to get jobs in my ministry. But now again, look at me. Multiplied by 0 and raised to power 0, which is 0. I'm where I was last time. Then at times I say that I ought not to have even joined that presidential campaign team if I would have known the results. But you see, we made fundamental mistakes, but they were by design. Because losing an election is not very easy, especially when you have the government on your side, because it can only by design. But we lost an election when we lost BBI. If you ask me, all these others were just some additional information about losing the elections. But remember, when BBI was brought, BBI was a very good document. But BBI was a document that was designed to fail. But at what point did BBI fail? BBI failed in courts. The moment we introduced a clause of the office of the ombudsman to oversight the judiciary, we lost it at that moment. But the person who brought it in knew that we would lose it at that moment, because judiciary would not pass something that was going to oversight them. Number 2, the introduction of the 70 extra constituencies that was going to increase the wage bill. The introduction of those constituencies was not well designed. They were supposed to be done purely by IEBC, but we brought it in the document. But you see, when we were passing the BBI in various counties, we passed BBI in so many counties. Over 40 counties passed BBI. Then the National Assembly passed BBI. Then Senate passed BBI. Then the problem started in the courts. Why? Because the wings of the courts were to be clipped. But even with that in place, if the president of this nation is the appointing authority, is the one who appoints judges, do you want to tell me if president would have taken his phone and told a judge to pass BBI, would it fail? It would have not failed. But when BBI failed, but before it failed, who were on our side? Literally everybody was supporting us. Every other big political party and a small political party in this nation were all supporting BBI, and they signed. But the moment BBI failed, we started experiencing mass exodus from our side. That is the time our speaker, Wetangula, left. That is the time Honorable Honorable Musalia Mudavadi left. That is the time the Speaker of the National Assembly, within that period, left. When I saw the Speaker of the National Assembly leaving, Speaker Justin Muturi, I knew there was a problem, because Speaker was Uhuru's best friend. Best friend, that I know. But the moment he left, I knew that there's a problem. Do you remember there's a time the now President Ruto refused to greet Speaker Justin Muturi in Parliament? He just passed him because there was a problem between the two. But after that, Justin Muturi joined Ruto. Then after that, Waiguru of all the people, Waiguru has always been perceived to be very close to the former President Uhuru. When she had a problem, the alleged corruption case and the alleged Mwosho Moja at Capitol Hill, she was very close to Babu. Very close to Babu. Then out of nowhere, she just moved towards Ruto's. She went to Ruto's camp. So this tells you something, that people who were very close to President Uhuru, very close, were moving to Ruto's side, which means that there was unwritten law. There was some form of communication. There was some assurance that people were being given. Look at Alfred Mutua. Kalonzo having refused to move, but they needed some bit of Kamba votes, which they got around 100,000, although Kambas voted for Azimio largely. But that tilted the scale, because the 50% plus one was passed by around only 69,000 votes. But look at when Mutua moved towards the last minute. The last minute, which means that there was some form of communication. There's something that these people knew that we did not know. And today I'm speaking about this. Fearing nobody, fearing nothing. But because I was at the center of everything also, I must speak about it. For me to be free and for my mind to be free and for Kenyans to know what I'm thinking. But it requires a sharp brain, a very sharp brain and intellectual, to know that there was a game going on. Then, let's fast forward. There was the purported fight between the former president and the current president, Ruto. Then the fight started escalating towards elections. And it was even very nasty, to a point where the Ruto was telling Uhuru, do not kill my children. Where was that imported from? Was it necessary? But these statements were mere statements of puff. In law, they are called misrepresentation, or mere statements of puff, meant to hoodwink Kenyans, to send smoke screens that, we are genuinely fighting. That, whatever we are planning ahead, the end must justify the means. Whatever we are doing, it doesn't matter. We can equally abuse each other. We can do whatever we want to do. But the end must justify the means. But let Kenyans know that we are fighting. Because why would Uhuru and Ruto fight if in 2002, Ruto stood with Uhuru against all odds? 2013, Ruto stood with Uhuru against all odds. 2017, Ruto stood with Uhuru. And they also went to ICC together. So what is it that went wrong between the two? Nothing. After all, you are advised that if somebody fights for you so much, and if you loses, you will always owe the person. But if you win, you will reward the person. So they fought in 2002, they lost together. So which means Uhuru owed Ruto. They fought in 2013 and 2017, they won together. Which means Uhuru had to reward Ruto. What is this thing that Baba did to Uhuru that Uhuru ought to have rewarded him? Nothing. Truth be told. But you see, having known that after the 2017 elections took place, we had to go for handshake. Why? Because the economy was going down. Without peace, without peace, the economy will always go down, because the economy of a state is controlled by the political activities of that state. And the political activities of a state controls the economy of a nation or of a state. But because there were several demonstrations, the economy was down, there are no jobs, people are crying left, right, and center because of hunger. The only best thing that ought to have been done was to go for handshake, so that people can go to their various jobs, children can go to school, people can do businesses. But that is where wisdom came in already. That you, as the president, let me bring Raila close, because we cannot rule without him. So what do? I have to handshake him. The new Ruto, as the deputy president, play opposition within the government. Historically and politically, any other person who was not in line with the president of this nation was either resigning voluntarily or made to resign. But this didn't happen with the then deputy president, who is Ruto. He didn't resign, but he played opposition within the government. Then Baba, having come with a clean heart, he who comes to equity comes with clean hands. That is a maxim. So Baba came with clean hands, but the other parties did not come with clean hands. The hands were hidden, and it reminds me of Adam Smith. Adam Smith said in his book that he wrote about the wealth of nations, the book called Wealth of Nations. Adam Smith said, it is not by the benevolence of the brewer, nor the chef, nor the waiter that you get to eat your dinner, but it is by their interest attached to it. Wealth of nations. So if you look at this, it was completely interest-based. That once I handle Baba, I will rule this country. But because I had promised you, zangu kumi zako kumi, we have to fulfill this promise. Because we have the, in quotes, purported tyranny of numbers. So what do? Agree, play opposition, me I'm in government. Of course I'm with Baba, he has agreed we work together. But what do? I bring in BBI. Because Baba must also explain to his people why he's gone for handshake, what he needs for us, for his people. Then he'll have to tell his people that BBI is coming, and BBI is about inclusivity. And therefore, we are going to form the next government, because even the current government is in support of the BBI. Then the BBI comes, then fails. Then after the BBI fails, then now election campaign starts. But let me stick with you, in quotes. But when we were campaigning, of course, campaigns were going on smoothly. But if 2017 elections were stolen, and there was a proof by the fact that the Supreme Court nullified the elections, then why did we have to go back to elections with Chebukati as the chairman of IEBC? Why did we have to go back with him? We proposed in Parliament to remove Chebukati as members of Parliament. But we were told, we will handle Chebukati. The same deep state, in quotes, told us, we will handle Chebukati, so stay still. So we said, okay, let's stay still. Of course, they say that there's a quote that says that if you are walking and you don't meet with the devil, know that you are going in the same direction. So indeed, we were going in the same direction. We were going in the same direction
with the devil.
With the devil.
Yes.
You see. So I can tell you that at that moment we ought to have removed Chebukati. But again, we are being told that now, give us your IBC commissioners, give us 4 against 3. Then we produce 4, knowing very well that 4 are not powerful. The only person who holds powers there is who? The chairman. But chair is theirs. But we are convinced that we should not remove this chairman because he will deliver. Are you getting this? So, now that goes again. We go for elections. Then we are going for elections, even the polls. Scientifically, personally, I'm a scientist. I did actuarial science. I'm an actuary.
Yes.
Even got first class honors, Muredi. I believe in those polls. I know those polls. There is no any